Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of CK Stories from the Heart. There are people who enter the world of education because it's a job, and then there are those who enter it because it's a calling. And on this Father's Day weekend, we are reminded that some leaders carry that calling not only into their schools, but into their homes, their communities, and the lives of the young people they serve. Today on CK Stories from the Heart, we sit with a man whose journey reflects purpose, discipline, faith, and a deep commitment to shaping the next generation, both as an educator and as a father. From the rich soil of the Mississippi Delta to the vibrant educational landscape of Fort Bend County, Texas, Dr. Paul D. Fowler has walked a path defined by service, leadership, and transformation. His story is one of resilience, growth, and a relentless belief that every child, whether in his school or in his own home, deserves a champion. As a devoted husband and father of four sons, Dr. Fowler embodies the strength, steadiness, and love that Father's Day calls us to celebrate. He is not just an administrator, he is a builder of people, a cultivator of culture, and a leader who understands that excellence is not an act, but a habit. And, and as he often says, the goal is simple: get 1% better each day. So today we honor fathers everywhere, the mentors, the protectors, the teachers, the guides, and we shine a special light on a father whose leadership extends far beyond the walls of a school building. This is CK Stories from the Heart, and this is a Father's Day story of Dr. Paul D. Fowler. Let's bring Mr. Fowler to the stage. Hello,
Hey,
sir.
hey, great afternoon, sir. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, and the same to you. I appreciate you for being here with us today.
Yes, sir. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you and others out there who may be listening. So I'm very thankful and grateful to you, sir.
Well, yes, sir. I really do appreciate that. And if there's anything, is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we get into the show?
Well, I want to send a special happy Father's Day to all the fathers, mentors, uncles, stepfathers, those men who have stepped up in a way that, hey, you cannot measure by money, no monetary value on their time and efforts, and also mothers as well, uh, women who may not have the man in their life, but they've stepped up as well. So I want to send a special thanks to my father, Reverend Gene Fowler, back in Greenville, Mississippi. Hopefully, he's tuned in. Some of the men that raised me as well. So I love you guys, and I just want to say that today on Father's Day. So
Well, I've got before we get going here, there's a Happy Father's Day greeting here that's in the comments here. You are more than able and welcome to respond to these.
okay,
And
thank
this is from Veronica. She says, "You too." I'm assuming she's talking about when you spoke of, the shout out to the mothers.
you. Oh yeah.
And here we go. So yes, he is a father. so
Yeah.
so let's get into your life story, your foundation here.
Hmm.
Can you tell us, growing up in Shaw and Greenville, what values from the Mississippi Delta shaped the man you are today?
Well, most importantly, I was introduced to Christ by my father, my mother. My father was my pastor. He was my dad, teacher, my mom. Also, they taught us, myself and my three sisters, a lot of things. And so, those Christian values, being respectful, speaking to people when you pass by them, it doesn't hurt you to wave your hand. shake someone's hand, greet them. I think those things are missing in these days and times. I tell people all the time, I don't meet a stranger, and those are some of the values that I learned early. Also, hard work. I mean, if you know anything about the Mississippi Delta, there you have to work hard. I mean, there's because it's an area that's overlooked quite often. Mississippi Delta, as I was taught growing up, is one of the poorest areas in the world, not just in the United States. And people that work tirelessly in the Mississippi Delta, some have gone on to greatness. I can go on and on about many people that have worked. They work maybe in the fields. They work for their family business, or what have you. But you have to have a great work ethic. You have to be respectful, and then also that Christian value, having a spiritual guidance that we have. Hey, you can make it in the Delta. You can make it anywhere. So those three things come to mind right off when I think about those different values that will shape you growing up in the Mississippi Delta.
Wow. Well, I can tell you firsthand. I'm your neighbor to the east. I was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile.
So I definitely know about that Delta, and definitely there's a lot of history there that's rich and traditional that I think a lot of people need to learn and know about.
It is.
When did you first realize that education was not just a career path but a calling for you?
During my freshman year actually, um, and also growing up, I tried to run from it. To be honest with you, Dr. King, growing up, I always had a love for people, for children. Both of my parents are educators. As I stated, my father pastor. I have many educators in my family, and so um, I tried to run from it. I knew deep down I loved working with people, but I wanted to major in broadcasting and journalism. And fast forward to my freshman year at Jackson State University, I love my Tigers. I was blessed to be able to go to an elementary school called Pecan Park Elementary School, where would read to students and different things like that. And from there, it just struck me. We went a few times, myself and several other students, and from there, I changed my major. I called my mom first, and I told her, I said, I think I want to change my major to elementary education. And from there, I haven't looked back. At the same time, I still have the opportunity to use um, that broadcasting and journalism uh, background and things that I wanted to do in that particular field, and kind of mix it in with the educational format. So I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So that's when it really hit me that, hey, you can do this. And so I started out teaching elementary school, and now I'm on middle school. I've done all levels. So that was the biggest thing then. And prior to that, to be honest with you, I would help out at church. I found myself kind of being a big brother to the younger children at church and in the community as well. So that carried over into my adulthood.
So, who were the early mentor influences who helped guide your journey?
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, to begin with, I always talk about my parents. I have the best parents. My father, as far as a male role model, uh, man, one of his closest friends, Reverend Albert Calvin Jr., who was actually my middle school principal. Um, Coach Charles Hardy, one of my high school football coaches, and to this day, I still reach out to them. So many people. My uncle Eddie Johnson, he just passed, and I love him dearly. Um, those men helped shape me. I think a part of me as an adult. I took bits and pieces from what I learned from those men, and there were some others, but I have to pinpoint those four because they played a major role in who I am as an adult. And
Well, so
mhm.
so as you think about that, because I mean, it seems like those were really, really major influences in your life. Can you
Mhm.
tell us how does that compare to now, as you are now a father and a career educator? How has that influence impacted your career and your life?
That has greatly impacted my life because, as you stated earlier, I have sons. I have four sons, but in that regard, I try to make sure that I'm patient with them because I think about the knucklehead Paul Fowler when I was a kid, and at times, being growing up as a young male, sometimes we can be stubborn, a little bullheaded, and so I try to make sure that I'm patient with them, and I try to find something, at least one characteristic, and that was my sons as well as students that I've coached throughout the years. Try to find something positive and make those connections, and bring it to real life, like real life. Um, and maybe the jokes, it may be different things to try to connect with them so they understand, hey, this is why I'm telling you this. And you'll see, I want you to learn from my mistakes that I made. And I may share something that I did in the past. But those things, uh, being respectful, like I said, again, going back to those core values, being respectful, being a stand up guy. Hey, if you say you're going to do something, you know, do it your best. Do it to the best of your abilities. So I want to make sure I tell them those things starting off, and then from there, slowly be there with them to kind of coach them through things because it's difficult. You don't want to hold their hands, but at the same time, you want to be there, let them know, hey, I am here for you. I want you to grow, learn from this. If something negative happens, not jump down their throat so much right off, but try to be that person if they need somebody to cry to. And I tell them, hey, it's okay to cry. Hey, be strong. But at the same time, now we need to learn from that mistake and let's move forward. Uh, all of my sons have different personalities and they have different interests. And so I try to have an open mind with them and make sure that I'm supportive, like I was supported. And so it's been a blessing to see them all flourish because they want, at the end of the day, they want to do well, and that. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm not overbearing, where I'm always on the case when they do things, uh, incorrectly. So
Well, I've got a comment here. I want to make sure I say it right. And if I say your name wrong, please forgive me. But it's at Florine Jean, and I'll
great.
put this on the screen for you. He says, "Big shout out to my cousin for his dedication, dream, vision, and commitment to the development of youth in our schools and communities."
Yes, that's my cousin, Mrs. Florine Jordan. Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I love you. I love you. Thank you.
So, how did your time as a teacher and athletic coach prepare you for leadership?
Ooh. Okay. Well, as a teacher, I'll start with a teacher. As a teacher, my first few years I taught in my hometown, and so I got an opportunity I was blessed with that opportunity because the first thing for me was, hey, the first couple of years is kind of you feeling your way, you're learning, you're green as quote unquote. And so I had the opportunity to coach football. One of the students that I coached, his brother and I went to school together. So those things, it was more, I got an opportunity to learn on the job. And it was very important that I come in and do my very best. My principal, Miss Hattie Young, she was very helpful in there. We had some great great teachers on the staff as well that were patient with me as I came in because I had skills coming in, but and the will to do well. And so I taught fourth grade. And what I tried to implement um, some things that I had interest in, and in turn, my students they kind of took it and ran with it. We did well during my first couple of years. There's always test scores. We did well with the test scores, but at the same time, I made some great connections. Some of the students, a matter of fact, one of my students, I talked about broadcast and journalism. One of my students, she went on to become a news anchor And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, so one of my first students in that class. And so, um, as I stated, I love coaching. I love sports too. So I had the opportunity to do that as well. And then from there, when I was uh, going back to school for my master's, um, I had the opportunity to meet other uh, aspiring leaders when I moved to Clinton, Mississippi. And from there, it just took off, man. I got an opportunity to work in groups. We went to talk to other teachers who did not go to school necessarily for education, but they were going into the field. They wanted to go into the field. We had an opportunity to teach classes, answer questions, and that made me reflective as a leader, which is important. And so when I became an administrator, those things stayed with me. That foundation having me think back, okay, when I was a teacher, this is what I struggled with, or this is what I did well, so I can share those experiences with teachers as well as coaches, and I was able to identify people that had skills. Like, man, you have some great skills. Like you can do this. Just like I was inspired by leaders who saw something in me, and those four men that I mentioned earlier that were patient with me and helped me along the way. And so that helped me shape me into the leader I am now.
Wow.
Mhm.
So tell us, in your venture here of education, what is your motivation? Because it seems like you are doing a lot of inspiring to students and those around you.
Mhm. Well, you just hit it on the nail. Inspire. I want to inspire, educate, and sometimes entertain. Because growing up, I love to be in plays. You know, people that are close to me, they'll tell you that, hey, I'll crack a joke out of the blue. And so, those three things, I want to inspire, educate, and then sometimes entertain, because you want students to come to school. You want them to be there. You want them to, when they come to school, they want to be there. Not mom made me. Hey, maybe it's something they're looking forward to. Because I talk to students all the time. There's something for you at school. If you like the band, outside the classroom, hey, what are you doing outside of the classroom? Because that's life as we know it. You're not going to always be in the classroom. So I want them to be encouraged to do other things, talk to other people, and that'll encourage you to come to school. Um, I want to brag for a second. Our middle school, Quail Valley Middle School, this particular school year, this past school year, we had one of the top attendance rates in our district. And so I think that's not just Paul Fowler, but we have people that I work with, my colleagues, that, students want to come to school and be there. Their parents push them, we push them. And so that's that connection I was talking about, the community. And so, we want students to come to school to be there and enjoy themselves, not just, if it's just coming to school and you're doing math, you're doing science, you're doing social studies. After a while, hey, what are we going to do? And so that's why I used to use plays. Like I said, we used our plays that we did presentations. One of my cousins, actually, I'm gonna shout her out, Rose Wright, one of my fourth grade teachers. She pushed me as a kid. She inspired me as well when she taught us. We would do plays. We would do, I mean, you name it. And so that inspired me. I wanted to go to school because I looked forward to that. And so it may be sports, it may be the band, it may be drama club. So we tell students all the time, find your niche. There's a there's something for everyone, and that's part of the being in that community, being that big brother, big sister. The older students to the younger students, and so it's all a big family when you look at it that way. So I don't want them to think of just the academics, but the inclusiveness of it all.
So tell us, Dr. Fowler, in your own words, what does community mean to you?
Community to me is, again, making connections within the all walks of life. I tell people I relate to people from infants to seasoned adults, for a better term. And it's a great thing when you talk about community, the families that within the families within the community linked together. Everyone doesn't always have to agree or have the same, like we said, political values. But if I see someone that needs help, they're part of my community, whether it be black, white, whatever it is. And so I want to encourage people to understand that in your community is not just the people directly in your community, in your town, wherever you live, like you said, in Mobile or Greenville, where I grew up. Community is linking everyone together in some shape, form, or fashion, having that love for mankind. So the community, you see a need, you help someone. All right, you love that person genuinely. Not you don't not always have to call people every day. Hey, reach out to your neighbor. You see them struggling. You see your neighbor down the street that needs something done, and you're great at it. Hey, lend a hand to them. And so, I think about community not just on a small scale, but globally as well. So those are things that come to mind for me.
So, what does 1% better each day mean to you on a personal level?
Mm. On a personal level, being reflective. I'm gonna go back to that. Um, my prayer every morning. I told my wife my prayer every morning when I get in the vehicle headed to work is, hey, if I can help somebody, if I could be a blessing and not a hindrance, then then I'm doing what I need to do for that day. Um, my thing is I want to be reflective and look at, hey, what did I do well today versus what did maybe something I need to work on. And so when I see something I need to work on, a lot of times it doesn't help you to just make a big fuss about it, be reflective about it. Seek out support, seek out resources. If you're not great at something. So I'm speaking to me, but I'm speaking to all of us as well. Those things, when I say 1% better, uh, I want to do better than I did back in August, at the beginning of the school year. I shouldn't be the same Paul Fowler in 2026 that I was in 2024 or 2018. So that's why I always say that 1% better, and it kind of keeps you motivated internally, because you have to find that motivation within yourself, and I seek those things out as well. I saw that um, in the past, and it stuck with me. So I try to dig where I can to find some motivation where I can inspire myself first, and then from there inspire others. So that 1% better is being reflective and just working on yourself, so that you can improve. And I still have a lot of improvement to go, even though I'm over 40, well over 40 now. Those things that keep me going. Mhm.
Well, another comment here. There's a hi here in the comment.
All right. Hello.
And let's talk a little bit about your leadership and assistant principal work.
Hmm.
What is the heartbeat of your leadership philosophy as a school administrator?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, one is one of the, well, actually two things with me. Uh, I believe in teaching and educating comes from behind the heart and not from behind the desk. And on the second thing is making connections, um, being relatable, listening, talking to people. And so I believe in having that love for students. I have a love for students. I have a love for people, and I want to see people doing well. And so anything that I can do for students, I try to make sure that I do that, whether it be academically, whether it be socially, whether it be, hey, calling parent, hey, I noticed something. Mm, let's work together on this, or maybe pulling that student to the side. Hey, I see you're sitting by yourself. Hey, there are some other students over here, or I have a maybe have a little joke for them or something like that, just to encourage students. And again, with making connections, and then with um, teaching from behind the heart. I have to have that openness with teachers that I serve as well, supportive of them, listening to them, because I said earlier, I have to see myself sometimes in them at that stage. Like have new teachers. Sometimes you have teachers like myself that have families, so you have to have an open mind, have an open heart, and have a heart for people, because it's your servant at the end of the day. And that's how I take the position, and that's the position that I take daily. That I'm a servant, and I try to make sure that I'm in a good mindset. That goes back to that 1%, where I can be a great help to not only the students, teachers, the people that I serve in my school community, whoever I come across that day. I don't want to be the person that causes them to have a bad day or have them discouraged. That goes back to being a blessing and not a hindrance. And so, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Treating people the way that you want to be treated. And so, uh, those are things that I think about when I think about making those connections and teaching from behind the heart, not from behind the desk.
So when we talk about your day to day and you're dealing with your teachers, tell us, what is your philosophy in your everyday experience in working with your staff and the things that you do to inspire and motivate them.
Well, in the mornings, I start off the day in the mornings by greeting everyone. You know, everyone that I come across, whether students, parents, whomever, someone coming in to fix a light fixture. Uh, being a pleasant person, 'cause you don't know what kind of night they had. You don't know, what they're dealing with, uh, and it's a big thing for me because sometimes I need that too. I might run across someone and I see a shirt they have on. I like this shirt you have on. Different things like that. Uh, and if I have a teacher that's struggling, hey, I might pull them to the side. Hey, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. What can I do to help? Okay, let me know. Just small things like that, the little small intricate things. Or if I see someone struggling, I may send them some. Everyone has different ways of communicating. They like to communicate, so it may be a email, it may be uh, just a thumbs up. You good? From afar. And so, at the end of the day, everyone's professionals, and that we serve the teachers, from custodians, cafeteria workers, everyone in that building. So I want to make sure that first being professional with them, and then also had that open line of communication where I'm supportive, and if they need help with something, if I don't have the answers, seek out resources for them to help and better help them, because it goes back to that community again. You got the community of learners, and then you have the community of support from teachers and the school community. So that's what I really at the core of everything. That's my go to.
What is the one thing you want your students to know that they don't know already that you do to help influence their lives?
Mm. Well, I believe I would like to believe that they know that I really deeply care about their future. Um, I really do, because I see the potential in so many students. When I was growing up, we had word processors, typewriters. I mean, things like that. They have so many resources, so many things um, that they can use, the tools to be successful. I mean, to create a podcast, maybe. We have so many students that are very talented, but they need someone to shape that and bring it out of them, shape and mold them and bring it out of them. Um, Also, I really do. I will always tell students that, hey, find that niche, find something that you're passionate about. You don't have to be, some entertainer or movie star, but you can find your niche and you'll have a great life. Be respectful to yourself first of all, be respectful to others, and the sky's the limit. And I always want to offer that support and let them know that, hey, I'm here. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you, hey, you messing up. You're messing up. And you're doing well. Hey, I'm their biggest cheerleader. So, and they know that. I think I really do believe they know that. Hey, I'm their biggest cheerleader. Uh, so, that's my thing. I may joke with them sometimes, but they know at the end of the day that I really am serious about their future. My sons definitely know that. I think they call me goofy all the time because I do things just to get them going. Um, but that's who I am. But uh, I may do an impersonation. I'm real big on impersonating people, so uh, I do that sometimes. But
How do you approach building strong relationships with students, especially those who may be struggling?
mm, building strong relationships, that's that's a challenge these days and times because there's so much distraction, to say the least. But what I do is I always try to make sure that I'm relating to my list. I listen a lot to. A lot of times they'll tell you without telling you things that are going on with them, the way they perceive life in general, and so um, I always try to relate to them and talk about, hey, this is what I noticed, this is what's going on, and I try to deal with facts versus um, what I perceive. So what I'll do is I'll talk about things that they're doing or our interactions or what I see with them, and we'll talk about grades, we'll talk about everything, sports, because I want to. It depends on who it is, and then with young ladies, I was blessed to grow up in a house full of women, so I had three sisters as well as my mom. So the young ladies is easier for me as a guy sometimes to relate to a lot of things that they have going on because I had sisters. So I try to relate and listen, and I say, okay, well, and I ask a lot of questions too. So I ask, hey, if you're struggling in social studies, which is one of my favorite subjects, I did well in that. I would offer, hey, this is what you need to do here, and it may sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. Or with behavior in a certain class, okay, so what's going on? Why did you do this? Or what made you so upset? You know, I try to listen, be a listener, ask questions, and not assume all the time. Um, and so I'm not a certified counselor, but at the same time, I really, like I said earlier, that at the core, I believe that teaching comes from behind the heart. You have to actually care, and I really do care. I want them not to have those distractions or apprehensions about school, about talking to people, or how to communicate with others without shouting or getting attitude, different things like that. And so I bring it to their attention, and I want to develop them not only in the classroom again, but the character building, social emotional learning is a big key these days because it can, like I tell them, hey, I can't come up here and just go off on everyone. I'll be at home, trying to figure out how to feed my family, where my next meal is coming from. And so I try to make them open, have their eyes open to different things like that. And then again, like I said, I'm their biggest cheerleader when they do well. So that's my thing with them.
What does effective school culture look like to you, and how do you cultivate it?
Mm. Respect, one, respect, mutual respect for yourself and the people that you serve, um, the school community, entire school community. And what that looks like is the culture starts with the leadership. So I can't tell my teachers, my students, hey, be respectful, talk, listen to people, open the door for the young ladies, for the guys, do these things. If I'm shouting, screaming at everyone, coming in, walking right by people, uh, if someone's struggling in math and I'm great at math, well, then, oh well, you have to figure it out. So when we have opportunities, in our building. Those people that specialize in math, specialize in social studies, science, English. Hey, those are the people that we ask. Hey, let's try to stay back and mentor and tutor students. Those things have to happen. We have a strong PTO. Parental involvement or parental engagement is such a key, and so from the students, teachers, administrators, cafeteria staff, the front office staff, parents, PTO, everyone involved, local businesses. When we have parent night out, hey, we need everyone involved because you play a big role in those students' lives, and that's where we want to look at the core students. They're learning, and not just learning academically, but they're learning how to be productive citizens, and so that plays a huge role in creating that culture. But it has to be invited, it has to be welcomed uh, by everyone, and everyone buy in. It may take a month, it may take 2 months, sometimes it may take a school year or 2 school years. But at the end of the day, there's a proactive effort. There has to be a proactive effort from leadership, and that's where we come in. Leaders not only in the school, but leaders in the household, leaders in the community, and thinking about those students and what they need, and from there, pointing out those great things that they do, and then when they have slip ups or things that they need to work on, being respectful, being supportive of them, and that creates a culture of positivity, of encouragement, again of respect. And so, at the end of the day, that's what you want. Uh, and it may not come, like I said, it may not come overnight, but at the end of the day, you want to work towards that.
So, how do you balance structure, accountability, and compassion in your leadership style?
Mm. Well, as I stated earlier, I love to. I'm more of I'm not a person that I'm not your traditional administrator. If that makes sense. Uh, the structure portion of it is, again, coming to work with the mindset of getting 1% better every day. And what that looks like is me coming in, okay, seeing a need. What can I do to support? What can I do to help Paul Fowler? And then from there, reaching out to my resources. And my resources are, sometimes it may be students. I may know a student who's very influential. I know a teacher, parents that are very influential, and getting some things done. And it kind of goes back to the culture piece, and the climate and cultural piece that we just talked about. I want to make sure that from me, getting in the classroom, be visible. And so I can't preach, hey, let's get these grades up, let's do this, let's do that. I have to be visible and be helpful, not just visible physically, but in classrooms, in the hallways, making sure that everything is running smoothly on my end, helping out where I need to, helping other administrators, helping teachers, counselors, like I said before, custodial staff, everyone. And so that structure part of it is ensuring that everyone's where they need to be, if that makes sense. If my teachers need something that, hey, that I can help with right then, let's do it right then. If I need to go a little step further, hey, let me get back with you on that. And so go back in, because we don't always have all the answers, and I never feel that way. Um, so I want to make sure that I do those things so that when we come back to school the next morning, um, go back to that 1% better. I want to see some improvement, academically, less less arguments with one another, things like that. So I always want to improve on those things, and extracurricular activities, being there. Students love that when they see their principal, their mom, their dad. They see someone that teaches them, someone from the community there cheering them on. Where they have a choir, concert, orchestra. We have orchestra. um, ac- athletics, wherever it may be. And so those things play a huge part in the structural piece, um, with our teachers, with our students, and with our school community.
So when we think about you think about your role now as an administrator,
Mhm.
can you tell us what is one leadership lesson that took you years to fully understand?
Mm. One leadership lesson, that there are several, but this one is something that I think many of us as leaders, in education deal with, and that's delegating time. I mean, because you want to see things done, you want to be here, you want to be there, you want to make sure things are right, but at the same time, you have to take care of yourself, um, to make sure that you're physically, emotionally, spiritually able to lead. And so I had to learn. I'm still learning that to a certain extent that, hey, you need to slow down sometimes because you're going to run yourself, you know, ragged. You're going to get yourself sick, trying to do too much. And so I think with me, that's something that I had to try to slow down over the years. Um, I felt like, hey, I'm young, I'm healthy, I can handle it. Okay, make sure you eat, properly. Take a second to eat something. I had a principal. Well, I had a principal. She's almost like my I call her my school mom. Miss Lucille Lovett. She'd ask me all the time, "Hey, Fallon, did you eat today? Did you?" I'm like, you know what? I need to eat, because you'll be burned out, and you won't have anything for your family. Won't have anything for your students when they need you, teachers, because you'll be so mentally and physically drained. And so
Mhm.
there's a pace, that I've been learning to take, as well, to try to slow down sometimes so that I can, be at full strength, for others. So I think that's something that sticks out for me.
So, how do you support teachers in becoming the best versions of themselves?
Mm. Well, we have well, I have an opportunity to go to classes and observe, quite a bit, and I have opportunities to share with teachers one on one, and sometimes, different things that I've seen or I've used throughout the years, to help them, in their instruction. And so I try to offer those things, and a lot of times when we talk after, they've taught the class, or we're talking, post, um, conference after, um, an evaluation, we'll get an opportunity to talk about some things, and we'll see. Oh, like, well, I saw it this way. Okay, well, this is what you were trying to do. Okay, well, look, let's try it this way next time, and I go from there. So there's a good thing for me because, um, there's a different set of eyes on things, and sometimes teachers they're very open to it because they say, oh, okay, well, okay, I didn't see it that way. And so that's that dialogue. Or I may ask questions about why are certain things here, why are certain students, okay, I know the students are like, okay, so how did you get this student so engaged? Like, so those are things that I do, try to create that dialogue, in between, teachers, and, let them know that I'm there. One, being asking those questions, being present, walking around, and sometimes it may just be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and maybe for the designated official, evaluation of 45 minutes. But I want to make sure that I'm there to support them. And at the end of the day, I always let them know that, hey, let me know, if you need any help. I always try to offer that. And there may be some times where I have to give some constructive criticism, but at the end of the day, I want them to know that it's not a I got you. It's that I have your back, and I want you to know that. By the times I come in, I may pull a kid to the side. Hey, let's get better at this. Um, and I want them to see that. I want them to know that, hey, I'm here for you. We're on the same team. Hmm.
What is the most rewarding part of serving at Quail Valley Middle School?
The most rewarding part is seeing students mature, seeing them succeed, seeing them, uh, you know, become leaders, help others, see them win, and not just necessarily win on the athletic fields or in different competitions, but them coming up to you and telling you, hey, look, I made it, I did this, or I improved on this, or you hadn't seen me in your office this week, have you? You know, just then that they're aware of it, that they want to do better. That makes me feel like, hey, you know what? Maybe I said something, or I've done something, or been an influence on someone where they want to do well. Uh, this is not Quail Valley, but I had a student. I didn't know this at the time that she had one of her parents went to my alma mater, Jackson State University, and her mom received her doctorate. And one day we had dressed up. It was one of those special days where you dress up like a teacher or whomever at school, and she dressed up like me because I had a picture in my office uh, on my graduation day, and so she said I wanted to dress up like Dr. Fowler. So I almost cried that day when she did that. I have a lot of those stories like that. That really touches home to me. I had a student that wrote me a letter. I had dropped out of school before, things of that nature. And we connected, and I always tried to encourage her. She had a lot of different challenges, and she wrote me a letter at the end of the school year, a couple of school years ago, and I kept that letter because it was very encouraging to me. Some things that she pointed out that I didn't think she paid attention to about me, and so when you touch the lives of students, those things really stick out to you, and that makes me know that, hey, maybe I'm doing something. I've done one thing right. Uh, I have a student that now Quill Valley. Uh, I won't say his name, but he has my heart. I mean, he's a good kid deep down. He has some challenges socially, and then sometimes that carries over to him in the classroom. But I saw I saw a huge improvement in him, in his self esteem, different things like that, and I can see him, moving forward next year and the year after that, and becoming a great student, not only in the classroom but out of the classroom as well. And so I'm gonna add one more, one other student that we have. She used to be very emotional, very confrontational, and that caused her to get behind on her academics as well. But toward the end of the school year, I never she if she came to my office, it was just to say hello. I mean, she stayed out of the office. She improved well. Her parents, they're very proud of her. I'm proud of her. Our counselors did a great job of working with her, her teachers, and it goes back to that community. Those are success stories that you don't see on the news all the time. But I take them right here, and it really makes me inspired. And so that those are some things that I can think of as far as inspirational stories with some of my students from recent.
How do you navigate the challenges of modern education while keeping students at the center?
Mm. Again, I want to. I see myself as being resourceful. If I don't know the answers to some things, because every education changes, just like life, everything's changing every year, and so there are some things that I need to go and research as well. And so I try to stay on top of those things, research, ask questions, and if students have questions that I don't have the answer to, we have very bright teachers. I mean, extraordinary teachers that are very well versed, and they go to different professional developments, myself included, administrators, and we pick up some things. And I may see it one way and get it. I'm like, okay, get it right off, and take notes. And I share notes with teachers. So to go back to your question, many times students that need those extra um, supports, as you would say, There are teachers that are have some great teachers that help, like willing to help with tutorials. Um, hey, pulling students during their PE time. So I want to make sure I make that my portion of that, or my role in that, is making sure I identify those quickly, so students won't get left behind or fall through the cracks. And so I want to make sure I stay on top of those things. I'm not the best math person, but I know someone who is, and I can get those students with them, and then make sure that I study and listen when I go into classrooms and catch on to certain things, because the important thing again is at the source is those students, uh, making sure they know what they need to know, and know the core values and the core structures of those disciplines within English, math, social studies, science, and then they can be successful at the end of the school year.
Well, before I go to my next section, I just want to tell you that, I'm sure your students more than appreciate you, because I hope that, and with the audience that's listening today, I'm more than sure that they appreciate you as well. I just want to tell you, as to so many other educators that have come to our platforms, that I've got to say this, and, it's just a distinction that's real, is
Mm-hmm.
that you, as another top-notch educator that's happened to be a black man, is really showing, the differences that you make in the school system, in the education system,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so many people like you, so many men like you that's in education, that's making a difference, that people really don't get the opportunity to, one, hear, to know you, and to know what it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I've got to say I'm so proud and so happy again that you're here on CK Stories from the Heart, because what you're doing is what a lot of kids need. And to know that you're making this kind of difference, people just really need to know. And I'm hoping that they're taking a serious notice, because I will tell you, eventually, we're going to stay in touch regardless. I mean, I'm not done, but I
Mm-hmm.
just want to tell you, we're going to stay in touch anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about just doing a highlight of all of you guys that's been here, and making you all change makers, and put you guys on my website, because this is really important work that you're doing, and I want to thank you in advance.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I have so much I can share. We'll be on here for hours talking about my students and school. So yeah.
So let's talk about your community engagement and impact.
Mm-hmm.
What role does community engagement play in student success?
Mm. It plays a huge role. I can't even really put it. I'll say this: students can see you every day. They can see your teacher. They can see mom, dad. But someone that comes in from the community, business owner, a lawyer, um, a former student from the school who's become successful in whatever they're doing. A representative from Chick-fil-A, um, as I stated earlier, PTO, in our school, they're very visible and very helpful. Man, we ended the school year with um, close to 700 students. If they were there at school that day, I'm not sure that all of them there in two grades. They pulled out the Kona ice truck at the end of the school year, and so they see people that, hey, man, they really care about me. They didn't have to pay for it, at all. They didn't have to buy anything, and they see people that come in, that's not mom and dad, it's not their teacher, someone at the school, that really inspires them, and they ask questions. Now they're having questions. We had career day with our eighth graders, and during the school year. I mean, that was a sight to see. I mean, you saw students dressed up in suits, and the young ladies had their hair nice, and Man, it was a blessing at a young age. I mean, middle school students that see the value in their lives and see the value in what's coming years from now and maybe sooner for some because there's so many brilliant minds. I see some future business leaders out there. The community plays a huge role. Those school night outs that the restaurants that bring the schools to their businesses. Um, we had quite a few business leaders come in, and not just this, not just in Quill Valley, but throughout the years. And I noticed the students they love it. I mean, they love. We've had welders come in, because everyone's not going to go to college. Everyone's not. Um, that's the reality of it. So that career readiness piece is very, very, very important. And so you have students that may go into vocational business. They may start their own business, lawn service. They may, become a beautician, stylist. We have a lot of fashionable students out there, and so we don't want to limit them to, hey, go to, become a teacher, become a lawyer, become a doctor. There's so many things that you can become. You may want to start a bakery for those students that like to bake. So I think having those um, community members, school community members, and that come in from outside of the building, students need to see that. Like they need to see it often, not just when we have the career fairs, but see them often. And, and that may motivate some. Everyone's not self motivated, so the ones that are not self motivated, they see that and it may spark a fire within them. And so at the end of the day, that's what we want. Like again, teaching comes from behind the heart. You want to have a heart for that. You have to want to be there for those students. Mm-hmm.
I have another here comment here. Young lady is saying, I think this is a young lady saying, "Hi, sir. How are you?"
All right, doing great, doing great.
So let me just say this real quick. For those of you that are watching on our TikTok channel, if the show ends after the hour, please pick us up on the YouTube channel CK Stories from the Heart. That is for those of you on the TikTok channel. As we go a little bit over the hour, please pick the show up on CK Stories from the Heart. So, how do you build trust with families and community partners?
Well, I feel like I'm a I try to just be my genuine self. I tell people all the time, hey, Dr. Fowler, like, hey, it's fine. You don't have to always call me Dr. Fowler because I always say I was Paul before I was Dr. Fowler. So just things like that, being relatable to people. I would try to remove that wall of, hey, administrator over here, teachers over here, students over here, people from the outside that come into the school. I want to be a person that is, like I said, I'm relatable. I think I enjoy talking to people. I don't meet a stranger. My family will tell you that. I talk to everyone, and so I genuinely, when I meet people, I genuinely, hey, how you doing? Who are you? Okay, nice to meet you. And so um, I'm a person that I'm just myself. I'm Paul. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I like to laugh. I like joking. You know, I like talking about sports. I like talking about history. And so I genuinely, when I meet people, I just be myself and let them know, hey, if I have my card on me, hey, here's my card. You got any questions about your child? If it's a parent, if it's someone that comes in that a community leader or a community member, let them know, hey, yeah, this is my number. Reach out to me. Hey, we want you here. Parents at the same time. It's great that I have sons and that I'm a parent. Like I said, I'm able to relate up to a lot of people because I grew, like I said, I grew up in a house full of women. I have sisters, and then at the same time I have sons. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a brother. cousin. So, I try to instill that, hey, I'm listening. I want to be. How can I help you? That customer service is very important to me. So I want to make sure that I'm my genuine self, and I just listen, talk to people, just share things with them. Make them feel comfortable when they come in, and just let them know that, hey, if you need anything and I can help with it, I'll do that. If I can't, right off, I'll find someone who can. Your child is safe with me when they're at school, and I do my best to make sure that I serve whomever that I cross paths with.
So, what are some of the most meaningful community initiatives you've been a part of?
Mm. Um, Let me go back. Well, one thing that I always say, I always talk about when I coached. I got an opportunity to meet quite a few people that I still talk to today, and I think outside of the classroom, or outside of the halls, the extracurricular activity, I got an opportunity to do quite a few things. One thing that we did when I was teaching, we did this called Boys to Men. Myself and actually our superintendent at the time, his son worked with me. We worked at school, so it's only a few of us. We are actually, if I'm thinking correctly, we may have been the only two males on staff at that time. And we worked with young men after school. We coached a little basketball with them. Um, and fast forward to now, I'm glad you asked me that, because I've been looking up how to become more involved with big brothers, big sisters here in the Houston area. And so I've been emailing back and forth with someone, and maybe hopefully we can get that in our school, and I can become personally involved as well as All Pro Dad, the former football coach Tony Dungy. He has a program that I was introduced to when I was living in Mississippi, in Clinton, Mississippi. My oldest son, Christopher, was in school. He was in the ninth grade, I believe. And so I talked to a few um, male administrators here in the Houston area as well, and they have it going. They have it up and running, and they've spoken very highly about it, and I've observed it a little bit. So those are some things that I look at. There's so many things. Um, when I taught and coached in Jackson, Mississippi, there was a partnership that we had with, um, it was Hines County. It was more so like a mobile health unit that would come to the school, do screeners and different things like that. And so that was a great partnership. I was the school liaison for that. So many things, but those are some impactful things that come to mind.
So, how do you ensure that students feel seen, valued, and supported beyond academics?
Mm. Well, I often bring up this that when we are actually in the school, it's very tough for everyone to get that one-on-one time. Like you're talking about 1,000 students, and so whenever I have an opportunity to shout them out, whether it be during lunch, whether it be during a game, activity after school, um, during when we have an opportunity during awards days, newsletters. Those are some very opportune times for those students to get those shout outs. We have something that I wish we had when I was in school called Kickstart. Quite a few of my students, my grade level, um, they were doing very well with Kickstart, and I would joke with them from time to time. Hey, you never know. I may come in and challenge you. I just joke with them about that, but they did very well at competitions, and it would be students that you wouldn't think just seeing them walk down the hallway that have those. they have aggressive personalities when they're on that mat. So I always try to shout them out when I see them. Like, hey, I heard you won. You know, say it verbally, not just say it. I'll just say it in the middle of the hallway. Sometimes it'd be shame, but I let them know, hey, I see you. I see what you're doing, and so they want to hear that. They may act shy, but they like that. They enjoy that. So I do those types of things. During lunch, um, I have the microphone, and so we'll talk about dismissing tables to go through the lunch line, and I think they get a kick out of hearing me. Sometimes I may sing on the mic or crack a little joke, a shout out a student that's doing something well. So those types of things. It plays a big role in my day, and I think I get great encouragement from it as well to see students do well. Mm-hmm.
So, what does it mean to you to be a black male educator in today's educational landscape?
Mm. It's like I say, it's a calling. I mean, it is not easy. At the same time, I think it's important for me in my role that I let them know that, hey, when I see students that look like me, and I let them know, hey, you can. I mean, you're smarter than I was. You smart. You can do whatever you want to do. Like I said, I'm their biggest cheerleader, and so I want them to see that, hey, somebody that looks like you may look a little better than me, can do great things, and if you put your mind to it, you can. I mean, the sky's the limit. Um, I think I was very blessed to have people that looked out for me, that prayed for me, that encouraged me, that gave me a great foundation. Um, when I needed help with something, I can go to them, and they would help me, and I was able to use my God-given talents to do those things um, that I'm doing now and have done, as far as being a leader, school leader. So I really think it's important that they see that. I don't want them to see me as something negative. Oh, there goes the AP. I want them to see me as, oh, there's Fowler. Paul Fowler, someone that's got my best interests at heart, someone that's encouraging me. Someone that if I need help with something, he's going to be there. Someone, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, he's going to hold me accountable. So I want to make sure that I'm that person. Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about your legacy, family, and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
As a husband and father of four sons,
Yes, sir.
how does your family inspire your leadership?
Ooh, my family. Well, my family inspired my leadership. As far as my son, do you want me to go into my sons or just in general? That's so much. That's a huge one. Now I don't know if y'all have time for this one. Uh, my sons are huge. They play a huge role in my life. My wife, uh, and I always I'm very critical of myself sometimes, uh, but at the same time I try not to take myself so seriously. Uh, I believe that they know that I'll do whatever I can for them. Like I'll go 120% over. My oldest son, um, he went off to school and he's done well. My second son, he's doing well in school. My twins, they're doing well, and they're about to go off to college. And I've just seen them grow. I always start off with them. I want to make sure that people know that it's not easy. It's not easy raising children. Like if you don't have children, you have no clue. But I think with my sons, I want to make sure that I'm being a role model first, showing them the way. Um, you know, being that listening ear. Being that person that, hey, I don't have all the answers, But at the same time, they know I'll send them a text, I'll send them a screenshot of something. Um, if they have activities, if I can be there physically, I'm making the point to be there. Um, and I could go so deep into this, but those are things that for me, I feel are important for them to know that, hey, I love you. One, two, I'm going to be there, support you. I'm going to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. If I can't get it for you, I'm going to reach out and try to find out where can I get this information? Where can you get it um, for them? So again, like my wife Roslyn will tell you, you know, I'm a big goofball. I just love family. I'm a big family person. I have a lot of cousins. Um, like I stated before, three sisters, in-laws, um, nieces and nephews that know, hey, you can call me if I can help you, I'll be there. So I'm real big on family. That's at the core. That's a big part of who I am. Like my family, people tell you, hey, I'm jumping for my family, um, and so.
Final question.
Mhm.
When you think about your legacy, what do you hope people will say about the impact you
Mhm.
made?
I would hope that people would say, hey, Paul Fowler was someone that was an inspiration. Um, he motivated people. He pushed people to be the best version of themselves. A person that's loving, respectful. Um, Someone that when you think of me, I want you to smile. If that makes sense. I don't want you when you say Paul Fowler, goodness, you know. Um, and then also someone I want them to think of me as a person that loves his family, that loves people, that loves to see people grow um, and become the best version of themselves again. And then from there, I want them to say, hey, he made an impact on this world, um, and he did his best.
So, in closing, what are some words of wisdom and encouragement you'd like to leave for our audience? Have them tell them how they can connect with you via social media, your
Mhm.
websites, whatever the things you'd like for them to know.
Okay. Well, one word of wisdom that I want to leave with people is there's two types of people in the world: those people that watch things happen, and those people that make things happen. So which one will you be? Um, another thing I want you to know that hey, I love you all, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I love people. I love everyone, and I want to see this world improve. Um, you can find me Paul Fowler on Facebook, on Instagram. I think it's Dr. P Fowler one on Instagram, and I'm starting to do a little TikTok now. Not necessarily post things, but I'm kind of peeking in there to see what it's about because like I said, I have young people. I work with young people. My sons, they're on there, family. So, and then also I'm on LinkedIn. That's where we met. Um, so Paul Fowler on LinkedIn, and the website. Hopefully, I can have a website up at some point, but I don't have a website personally right now.
Well, but when I close the show, do you have a few minutes after I close the show?
Yes, sir.
All right. For those of you that have watched the show and still watching the show right now, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you for tuning in on Father's Day in particular and listen to what Dr. Fowler had to say, not only about his family, but how community and his work as an educator in the school system, the things that he's making a difference in doing, and that impact that it has on the community. It's very, very important. But what's more important is that for each and every last one of us to take this message that he just sent out, that is, community is important, engaging and meeting people and helping people is the most important thing to start with and build from that point. So, in closing, I want to say, Dr. Fowler, your story reminds us that leadership is not about titles, it is about service. It is about showing up with consistency, standing firm in your values, and believing in the potential of every child who walks through the doors of a school. But today, on Father's Day weekend, your story also reminds us of something deeper: the quiet, powerful, irreplaceable impact of fathers. Your journey from the Mississippi Delta to Fort Bend ISD is a testament to faith, discipline, and purpose. Yet the heart of your leadership is reflected just as strongly in your role as a father, in the love, guidance, and example you set for your four sons. You show us that fatherhood and leadership are not separate callings, they are intertwined, each strengthening each other. To every father watching, every mentor, every coach, every man who pours into the next generation, we honor you. We celebrate your sacrifices, your strength, your presence, and your heart. Dr. Fowler, thank you for the way you lead, the way you serve, and the way you father. Your story is a reminder that when leaders lead with heart and when fathers lead with love, entire generations rise. This has been CK Stories from the Heart, and today we celebrated not just the educator, but the father behind the legacy. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon, and please tune in next Sunday as we have another great show for you.